Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. On today's show, is the potential rift between Brady and Belichick widening as the Super Bowl approaches? Plus, Reggie Bush joins the show to talk the Patriots dynasty. And do the Cavs need to move Kevin Love in a major shakeup? Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. Tom Brady is headed to his 8th Super Bowl, but there's still a lot to talk about his right hand. After Sunday's win, Belichick said, quote, "We're not talking about open heart surgery." Then yesterday, the coach and quarterback again gave differing views on Brady's hand. Let's take a listen.
We ran into each other, and my thumb just got bent back. It wasn't his helmet or anything. It just kind of got bent back. That's why I thought it was a lot worse. The doctors, we went and checked it out just to kind of check on everything, and fortunately, there wasn't the damage that normally comes associated with that. So I think we were very lucky. It was pretty stressful. I think I was stressed out. You drive home and you got all these stitches in your hand in a place. I got home and I saw my wife and she said, "What happened?" And I said, "I know, it's just an accident practice." And she said, "What's going to happen?" I said, "I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes."
This is a lot more of a media circus than it was a football crisis. I never really saw it that way. I don't think anybody did. It was what it was, and sometimes things happen during the week, and then they usually, if they happen early enough and they're not too serious, they have a chance to resolve, and that's basically what happened.
Shannon, what's going on here?
Skip, I don't know how you feel about this, but this is not going to end well, don't you? You know it.
I agree with that.
Because when the Seth Wickersham story first came out, within an hour, Mr. Kraft, Coach Belichick, Tom Brady all released a joint statement saying we're united as ever. On Sunday on the NFL Network, Mr. Kraft says we're going to do our very best to keep this thing going as long as we possibly can, but we got to get these egos in check. Now, we're united, but now we got egos. Yeah. So it goes to show me there is a lot more truth than fiction in that story that Seth Wickersham wrote about the upheaval that's going on in New England.
Bingo.
Coach Belichick made it very abundantly clear. On Sunday, he got annoyed. He seemed almost annoyed that this was a story. He's like, we're going to a Super Bowl, and you're talking about a thumb? Skip, and it was like, and Tom was like, I was worried about it, and I didn't know because it never happened before, and I'm like, man, this can't be how our season ends on a Wednesday practice. Mm-hmm. And Coach Belichick was like, and there was never a chance that you were not going to play. And see, the thing is, Skip, normally the protocol is, and this is what we know, quarterbacks, especially quarterbacks of Tom Brady's ilk, normally have a very close relationship with the owner. John Elway was once in business with Mr. B. Pat Bowlen, the owner of the Denver Broncos.
Yep.
So there's normally a great relationship. Mm-hmm. But I can assure you that when John pulled his hamstring in '98, John didn't call Mr. B. That was left up to the athletic trainer, Steve Antonopoulos, Greek, or Mike Shanahan.
Yep.
There's a chain. Coach Belichick strikes me as a guy that he loves the process. The process is me. Mm-hmm. I tell Mr. Kraft, or as he called him, Bob, what's going on.
Correct.
Nobody circumvents me.
Nope.
Even the athletic trainer. He's going to ask Coach Belichick first. Coach Belichick's going to say, okay, go ahead and tell him what's going on. But somehow, Tom Brady circumvented the process, which started the Coach Belichick to get upset with this. And that's Skip, that's all I was saying. And maybe I phrased it wrong. I'm not saying Tom Brady didn't get injured. I was saying the veracity and how injured was he. And Coach Belichick basically confirmed what I've been trying to say, that this was a media circus. He's upset that Tom Brady got this information out there because I don't believe this came from the Patriots. Somebody from Tom Brady's leaked this information because, Skip, they're not injury, 12 stitches, 12. Why not 10? Why not 8? Why not 13, 14? 12 stitches.
Well, it was a 12-stitch laceration. I don't know. Sometimes there's 16 stitches.
So why not the TB16? Why not the TB8? Oh, I'm just saying, Skip, that's neither here nor there. But I just think the thing is, Coach Belichick is upset. Coach Belichick has been in this position for 18 years. I believe this is the first time that Mr. Kraft has overruled Coach Belichick
So do I.
on any football-related issue.
Agreed.
And he's saying, after my resume, after my background, you going to question me on this? Why? It all started with he wanted Jimmy Garoppolo, and Mr. Kraft gave him basically an ultimatum. You will do this. Skip, even though this might have been the first time, it's hard, and you know this. You can do something 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, But when you meet resistance, even for the very first time, that's a problem. Why now? Why are you telling me no now? Why are you not trusting my football acumen now? And that rubbed Coach Belichick the wrong way. Tom Brady tries to play it up, and Coach Belichick come right behind him and put both feet on it and stomps it down.
He did.
And that's what he's continued to. I don't think this ends well. Now, they can put on all the public face they want to. They can say we're united as ever, all they want to. But this is not united. Coach Belichick could have easily gone along with it and said, hey, we didn't know it was a wait-and-see process, but he goes out of his way to make sure this is not that serious. It was never that serious. There was never a chance Tom Brady wasn't going to play in this ball game. And so for anybody else to think otherwise is being ridiculous and trying to make more of a situation that needs to be made.
And I'm going to remind you that the flashpoint of this crisis came when it was made public, I guess, by Brady, that he FaceTimed. No, Kraft said it. He said it. He said it on Saturday night, and I'm sure that got immediately back to the head coach, who did not love the fact that the owner is saying publicly on Saturday night on some Patriots Live or something, it's a whatever, some Patriots show, that Tom Brady, his quote-unquote son, FaceTimed him while he was in a restaurant. I think they were in Fort Lauderdale. He was just taking a little winter break from Boston weather, and he takes the FaceTime, and I'm sure at that point, this was Wednesday evening, that he just held his hand up and said, look what I got. And
before you went further, now you remember Eric Dickerson started right here and said when they was in Israel, Tom Brady will FaceTime Mr. Kraft.
In Israel, okay? So Mr. Kraft said that he immediately scrapped the rest of his vacation plan.
I ain't even hungry anymore.
Yep, I'm going home. And he didn't take the next flight because he had his own flight, right?
Yes.
Back to Boston, back to Foxborough to check out his son, Tom Brady, just to make sure it was going to be okay.
Probably drove to Tom's house in the middle of the night.
He probably did. So, I agree with you. Bill Belichick lost a power struggle effectively with his quarterback. Bill Belichick intended this year, as you and I talked about all offseason, to be Tom's swan song with the Patriots. Now, Tom could go on and try to end it elsewhere.
Correct.
But all of a sudden, Coach Belichick had his own son named Jimmy Garoppolo, who he was treating like a son. I think that kid really got to Belichick.
Yes.
I think he really loved him on and off the field, and still does.
He praised
on him. Oh, did he? Whew. And he did not want to give him up. He picked him in the second round, diamond in the rough. Here we go into one last hurrah with the Patriots for Belichick under Jimmy G. See if he could go win a Super Bowl with Jimmy G, which he clearly thought he could do. But Mr. Kraft said, no, you will trade Jimmy Garoppolo before the deadline. And I'm going to contend till death do us part, that I think he sabotaged the Patriots going forward. He just gave him away to another guy he likes, a young man named Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco. Would you like Jimmy Garoppolo for only a second-round pick? Could have gotten a lot more. Sabotaged Mr. Kraft and son going forward. And here we are, and that led to this. So, to me, this is like open warfare. It's between the lines, but it's open warfare. I've never seen anything like this.
No.
And I'm surprised more people aren't saying, what is going on here? Because Belichick is coming across to me like a typical Brady hater. And I put quotes around hater, but a little bit like a Shannon Sharpe. Not that you're a Brady hater, but you'd be the first to try to discount a little bit, discredit a little bit, try to undercut, try to disqualify just a little bit. Okay, he's gotten enough praise in his career. Let's not heap any more praise on him. That's the way Belichick came across. And the line, the flashpoint line is that Joy read, I think it was more of a media circus than a football crisis. So let's step back for a second. On the eve of the AFC Championship game, the Wednesday practice, a freak accident occurs to the quarterback that most of us agree is the greatest quarterback of all time. He is the biggest reason that you can overcome the Jacksonville defense is Tom Brady, because I don't think Brian Hoyer's going to be able to get that done.
No.
Okay?
No.
I don't think so,
No.
right?
No.
And the freak accident is a laceration that initially looks like a thumb injury that could be ligament damage, it could be badly sprained, it could be fractured, it could be a lot of things, but they dodged that.
Right.
But it was lacerated on the inside of his thumb and required, 12 10 plus stitches. Let's go with 10
plus 2.
Okay, 10 plus 2. And could we just for a second see the picture of that thumb on Sunday? I just want to get it. Again, I'm not trying to overstate this, but the thumb is clearly swollen. Wouldn't you agree at the base of the thumb it's swollen? Because
Maybe he got little fat fingers. Maybe
he's
he's just fat, Joe.
You know what?
I don't know.
I don't think Tom Brady has any fat on him at all. His thumb is swollen. And again, I opened the show yesterday. Until you brought it up, I didn't bring it up because it became irrelevant to the game because it worked. But let's think about this. In the sport of football, there is one skill, and that is the accuracy and touch with which you throw a football that is close as anything in the sport of football, your sport, to an art form.
Yeah.
It requires finesse, right? It requires a delicate sort of grip where everything's in place.
Yeah.
And if anything in that grip is slightly off, if the ball is coming out like a quarter of an inch different than usual, well, 5 yards down the field or 50 yards down the field, it's going to be off target, right? It's like hitting a golf shot. If you miss it by a tenth of an inch, it's going to be 20 yards right.
Like
right?
a pitcher with a blister on his pitching.
Okay, all right, same thing, where it just won't work, and you get discouraged, and certainly under AFC Championship game pressure and under the Jacksonville rush, bad things can happen.
Right.
Because if you do have whatever stitches, 10 plus 12 stitches, if you put your hands under center and you catch it wrong on the bandage that's across it, could it split? Could one of the stitches snap? Could it start to bleed? Could you have a sticky grip because it's bleeding while you're trying to throw and so the ball's coming out funky? I don't know. It's scary. So it led Tom Brady to say on his radio show, they had like dueling radio shows yesterday, I wasn't sure. I really wasn't. Well, how could he be on Wednesday and Thursday? How could you be sure how you're going to be able to handle a football under pressure with stitches in your hand? And as he said, we were lucky because nothing was broken or there was no ligament damage. But he says it was pretty stressful. I was stressed out. Well, who wouldn't be stressed out? You're a quarterback playing against that defense, and you missed one day of practice, and you're just unsure of your grip. Well, isn't that... Again, I'm not trying to overcredit Tom Brady. I'm not trying to create a new storyline, and oh my God, did you see what he pulled off? I'm just saying the reality was that was a football crisis. Seriously. It's your quarterback.
Well, I think the thing for Tom, what made it scary is because he had never had to deal with anything like this before.
No.
You know, maybe a sore shoulder, maybe a sore knee, sore ankle.
Yeah.
Those are things that most...
You know how to manage that.
Right. It's the unknown.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how is this going to affect my throwing? If I take, as you mentioned, if I take the snap, is it going to jar it?
Yeah.
If I get sacked and all of a sudden I forget that it's injured and I put my hand to try to brace a fall. So all those things I'm sure played into his mind. But Coach Belichick's like, guys, this wasn't nearly as serious as you and Tom is making.
But it turned out not to be. Right. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. He threw it beautifully.
You know what I think, Skip? Coach Belichick, this is what we know about Coach Belichick. When you come to New England, the Patriot way is Patriots first, teammate second, you're third. Coach Belichick believes that Tom Brady and this injury had taken the place of the team. It was starting to be more of a story than what they had just accomplished. And he's trying to suppress this. He doesn't want anyone, we know Tom is special. We understand that whatever he's given throughout that organization is well-deserved. But in Coach Belichick's eyes, in order for him to still maintain that level of credibility, is that I got to treat Tom just like anyone else. And I can't let Tom's thumb be the story over what the team just accomplished.
Okay, I get that. But again, you could at least pay a little cliched lip service to it after the game.
Tough.
What's that?
He said Tom was tough.
Tom's tough. But you could have said, I'm just throwing it out there, you could have said, we were all concerned on Wednesday and Thursday, and we were all very thankful it turned out well. Okay, just something like that, right?
Yeah.
But he just dismissed it out of hand, and you can't, because it's not the kind of thing in football. It's the one thing in football you can't say, suck it up and play. It's just it's the grip on the football. It's as close to it's as close to art as you can get, because it's a highly refined skill. How many people on the planet can throw a football that way under that kind of pressure? There are like 6 or 8, maybe?
Well,
maybe?
Because if you think about it, Skip, think about there's only 32 teams, and most teams don't have 3. So let's just say there's 75 quarterbacks of 7 billion people in the world do what these guys do. And only a handful, maybe 3 or 4, can do what Tom Brady does now. And only a handful has ever been able to throw the ball as well as he has.
Yeah.
So obviously it's going to play. I think it was going to be more of a mind thing than maybe the injury thing, because like I said, he had never had to deal with anything like this before. And again, Skip, Coach Belichick says the Patriot way. We're going to put our teammates before ourselves, and then whatever happens after that. Coach Belichick does not like the fact that this injury is being talked about more than what they just accomplished. I believe that, and also the fact he's still seething that he lost that power struggle. And he didn't lose it with Mr. Kraft. He lost it with TB12. That's the problem that he has.
Right. That's why it's unspoken, quiet, open warfare between the two of them. Do they talk?
If Brady's playing right along, Skip, he heard what Coach Belichick said after what he said on Sunday. He goes right back on his radio show on Monday, and Coach Belichick says, I got a radio show too. And unfortunately, mine comes on after yours, so I'm going to shoot it down again.
Shoot it down again. He did not back off. And I'm going to remind everyone, this open warfare to me started shortly after the Deflategate allegations were levied by the Indianapolis Colts after that AFC Championship game. Remember that? Because on the Saturday before they took off on Sunday to fly to Phoenix for the Seattle Super Bowl, Bill Belichick, out of nowhere, called his own press conference. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Did it by himself, and the message was, don't look at me.
Ask Tom about the football.
Ask my quarterback about the footballs. I don't know anything about footballs. And he even went to this weird Mona Lisa veto reference about my cousin Vinny. Remember? Because she helped win the trial because she knew everything about automobiles, right? Everything about engines and transmissions and wheels and everything.
She was great in that movie.
She was great. Was she
ticking.
She only won the Academy Award for it.
Yep.
Marissa Tomei. Yeah. So the point was, he even went to that to say, don't look at me. I'm not like Mona Lisa Vito. I don't know everything about cars like she did. And he's talking about footballs. Well, this is a Bill Belichick whose teams practice with soaked footballs to see how they can.
All kinds,
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He knows about inflation and deflation. He knows all about football. He knows as much about footballs as Marissa Tomei's character knew about cars in that movie. I'm sorry, I'm going to call BS on that one.
And Coach Belichick puts his team through any situation because he doesn't want, if it's raining, to say, well, the ball was slick. Well, it might be. Well, you practice with it, so you should be used to it.
Right.
He'll wet the ball, freeze it, because if it's cold in New England, Coach Belichick wants to remove any situation where a player could possibly use the ball was wet, the ball was frozen, this or that, as an excuse. He doesn't like excuses. And what he really detests is someone trying to upstage the team. Now, maybe Tom Brady is not intentionally trying to upstage the team. He had a gash. It was sewn up. He was able to play, and he played well. But that's been more of the story. It's like Tom Brady wasn't big enough that he's going to, 5 Super Bowls. He's 4-time MVP. Going to probably win another one. He's 40. That wasn't enough. Coach Belichick, you guys are just adding the media. You just feeding into this frenzy.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. And every time, Tom, you come out here and try to play it up, I'm going to come right behind you and let the air out of this balloon.
So, bottom line, what is this all a struggle for? Credit. Coach credit, quarterback credit. You and I go back and forth about it. And trust me, those two are going back and forth about it. And it started with Deflategate because Coach Belichick got discredited for Spygate because that was all on him. He got turned in and busted, right? It was all on the head coach. So he took a shot. There's some taint on his career
and
because
some
of that.
People will never give him the greatest head coach because of that taint.
Right. So when it came to a Deflategate allegation, he wanted the world to know, I'm innocent. Ask him.
Right.
Maybe he knows about deflated footballs because I don't know anything about it. That way, he's going to preserve his legacy, but you can question his legacy. It's classic throw quarterback under bus because he could have said, I got my quarterbacks back. We're in this together and we don't know anything about it. It wasn't a we, it was an I and him.
For me, Skip, even if you take, so they've been together for 18 years. So even if you split it right down the middle, you take Coach Belichick, 9 years going backwards to those 3 Super Bowls. You take the 9 years moving forward.
Yep.
Even if you just take the last 9 years, he wins this Super Bowl, he's still the greatest coach to ever coached in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's notwithstanding the previous 9 years in which he has 3. So even
Yeah.
if you want to say those are tainted, okay, take that away.
All right.
9 and 3 Super Bowls. You still and look at what he's been able to do. The division titles, the win percentage. He's still the greatest coach. So no matter how you try to get around it, he's still what he is. You might not like the way he does press conference. I wish he was more personable, but that's who he is. I've grown to become accustomed to that. But there's no denying his eye for talent and his ability. Coaches come and go, players come and go. But Coach Belichick and what he's been able to do is nothing short of, I'm going to be able to make the case when it's all said and done, that he's the greatest coach, regardless of profession.
Joy, we were doing so well because we were on the same
Coach, I got you,
page
Coach
for this
Belichick.
whole A block of the show. And now Shannon Sharpe, who's finally learned the ropes of the show, he knows we're coming up against our first commercial break. And he just made outrageous, out of bounds, wrong statements about Coach Belichick.
No mercy. Hey guys, Joy Taylor here. Before the show moves along, I want to talk to you about ZipRecruiter. In need of great talent for your business, but short on time? You don't have to get lost in a huge stack of resumes to find your perfect hire. You just need the right tools, smarter tools. ZipRecruiter posts your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards with just one click. Then ZipRecruiter actively looks for the most qualified candidates and invites them to apply. They even review every application to identify the top candidates so you never miss a great match. That's why ZipRecruiter is different. Unlike other hiring sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on the right candidates finding you, it finds them. No wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by businesses of all sizes and industries to find the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/undisputed. That's ZipRecruiter.com/undisputed. One more time to try it for free. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/undisputed. No mercy. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are heading to their 8th Super Bowl together. They've won 5 of their previous 7, and the Patriots are clear favorites against the Eagles next week. And we're joined by Super Bowl champion Reggie Bush. Welcome to Undisputed, Reggie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Who deserves more credit for the Patriots' success, Brady or Belichick?
Man.
It's a good question.
It is a great question. You know, I'm going to go with Brady because, listen, I think when you look back over the years of them being together and you look at the year that Brady tore his ACL and Matt Castle steps in, they still win 11 games. They don't make the playoffs. And then you look at last year when Brady had the 4-game suspension. They were able to go 3-1 without him.
They did.
And they ended up losing that last game to us when I was in Buffalo last year. But I think he gets to the playoffs without Brady, but I don't think he wins the Super Bowls without Brady. I think Brady's the ultimate finisher. He is the driving force that allows them to play as efficient as they do in that fourth quarter. And then also I think there's a reason why you don't see any Patriots players get big contracts because Belichick knows that as long as he has Brady, he makes everything okay. And he will always get them into the right position to be able to win. And listen, as long as Brady's there, I don't think you ever see a player get a big contract.
Good answer. Well, so what would you boil it down? What percent? You'd go
I would go 51.
49.
51, yeah.
Okay.
Brady, yeah.
Belichick, and I've always said this.
Brady
and
hate.
And you know what? I was willing to give Mr. Kraft 5%, but I got to take 2% that I was going to give him, so he's down to 3%.
You took it away
I
from
took
the
it away
owner?
from him because he did something. He was.
You can't take it away from the owner.
Yeah, because
Because he forced that trade?
I have to give the guy, the architect that put all of this in place. Those Patriots defense in Brady's 18 years in that system, 14 times the Patriots have been top 10 defense. Aaron Rodgers, by chance, have had 2 of those in 10 years. Now, we keep talking about Brady and those fourth quarter comebacks in the playoffs. He has 4 of those. In those fourth quarters alone, they've given up a total of 3 points. In 4 fourth quarter, 10-point come from behind victories. The defense has allowed 3 total points. Now, Ben Roethlisberger, we saw him throw for 470, 5 touchdowns. But why couldn't they win that game? Because the defense could not stop the Jags. I'm looking at something else, Skip. You know what? Tom Brady, this is Tom Brady, just finished his 36th playoff game. And in those 36 games, the defense has allowed 30 points or more 3 times. Aaron Rodgers has played 16 playoff games. His defense has given up 5 times.
This is not Aaron Rodgers talking.
I'm just going to show.
How
But
many
you keep
Super Bowls has Aaron Rodgers been to? One?
That's
One? That's all?
That's my point.
I thought he was transcendental.
That's my point.
How long's it
Because
been? Like
Aaron
12
Rodgers
years since he-
Aaron Rodgers has only had 2 top 10 defenses. Brady has 14. See, you keep saying, oh, Brady's coming back, Brady's coming back. But if the opposing team is scoring, once they get down, how does Brady come back?
But if you break down those top 10s, there'll be an 8th and a 9th and a 7th and a 10th. If they had Ray Lewis up there in Foxborough, did he end his career up in Fox? I don't think so. I don't think so.
But see, this is how Skip looks at it. He looks at it, if you don't have J.J. Watt, if you don't have a Ray Lewis, if you don't have a Deion Sanders, you can't have a good defense.
They've had good defenses.
Coach Belichick knows everybody can't play for Coach Belichick.
Okay, is there any one year where you say, boy, that 2001 Patriot defense? No. Do you do the 85 Bears and the 2004 Patriots? You don't do that.
Did you see what the 2001 Patriots defense did to the Grady Show on turf? They gave up 17 points after they were averaging 34 a game. So did you see that?
When the greatest show took them lightly and didn't get ready for
See, there you go. See, now you minimize. Now they took them lightly. Hold on.
And
Tom
by the
Brady
way,
scored 20 points. He scored 20. Tom Brady threw for 143 yards and a touchdown.
the Rams openly accused the Patriots of spying on their walkthrough on Saturday. I'm just throwing it out.
I get all that, Skip. I get all that.
Yeah.
But I'm giving Coach Belichick 57% of the credit.
57%.
57.
All that,
I
that's
don't
all
know
you're
about that.
giving?
Haven't you dropped that quite a bit?
Yeah, I thought you used
like
to
at
say
the
70.
Super Bowl last year, you were in the 70s.
No.
I think you're seeing the light.
No, it's not no seeing the light.
Tom
No.
Brady made you see the light.
Tom Brady gets credit, but Belichick is the architect. He's doing all the cooking, and he's just Brady's just the face of
The
this
architect
thing.
is not the one going on the football field. As you know, as a player, he's not the one going on the field and actually executing the game plan.
There've been a lot of great players, quarterbacks that didn't win Super Bowls. So you're telling me
Not playing for six.
Are you telling me Aaron Rodgers would have less Super Bowls playing for Coach Belichick than Tom Brady in the same time frame?
I mean, this isn't about.
No, I'm just saying because all I'm saying is it's the coach. You saying it's the guy. So I'm saying if we bring another guy in there,
He'll get to the playoffs, but Brady's the ultimate finisher. I cannot sit here and say that Brady and Aaron Rodgers are the same quarterbacks because they're totally different. And then Brady has proven time after time, year after year, that he can finish the games in the clutch situations
I'd say.
in the fourth quarter.
what about that? But you still not talking about that 3 points that they given up over those last 4.
You're right.
See, sometimes, as Reggie is pointing out here, the architect, as in the head coach, can make all kinds of mistakes, but the quarterback can just cancel them all out, such as Pete Carroll at the Rose Bowl championship game. He takes out Reggie Bush on a crucial, third and short play?
Something like that.
You know, something like that. And again, Matt Leinart couldn't overcome Vince Young because if it had been Tom Brady, maybe he overcomes Vince Young.
How?
Maybe he makes one throw more than Vince does, or
But
one run.
what does Tom Brady have to do with Russell Wilson throwing the ball to his teammate? What role did Tom Brady play in that part? Or was that Coach Belichick defense that had instructed him?
Shannon Sharpe, how can you open a door like that against the Legion of Boom, down 10 points in the fourth quarter, the best defense in pro football? Tom Brady went 13 of 15 for 124 yards and 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. That's all-time
What
greatness.
did Russell Wilson
you
do?
know it, and I know
What
it.
did Beast Mode do? What did Russell Wilson do against in the fourth quarter against that no-name defense? No Ray Lewis, no J.J. Watt, no Deion Sanders. What did they do in the fourth quarter?
Malcolm Butler made one of the greatest plays in the history of the Super Bowl. He just did. He's undrafted out of West Alabama. He comes from nowhere, and he made a play, right?
You don't make that play unless you've practiced it. Because every great player will tell you, when you see a move, you're like, how did you do that? I've done it several times in my dreams. I've done it several times. They practiced it. How many times did they say they practiced it? And Coach Belichick jumped Malcolm Butler for taking too long to get there.
He's a really good coach, but that really good coach in Cleveland, he went 5 years with one winning record in 5 years. Then he comes to New England and he goes 5-11 in his first year. Then he starts off What's
Tom
that?
Brady.
Yeah.
Then
Well,
Tom
but
Brady.
wait, it didn't happen until he was 0-2 in 2001. He fell to 0-2, and Tom Brady fell out of the sky because he was in his second year, obviously. But Mo Lewis blasted Drew Bledsoe up in the chest, and he was, God bless him, but he was gone. And all of a sudden, to Belichick's credit, he said, "I'm going to go with that 6th-round pick in his second season." To his credit. But was that a brilliant move to draft Tom Brady in the 6th round? Well, he passed on him 5 previous rounds,
But I'm just
right?
saying, okay, so what role did Tom Brady play in getting Deion Lewis or White or getting Amendola, trading for Amendola, or signing Amendola in free agency?
Shannon, those are all just guys. They're just people.
But
You can mix and match
Reggie,
any of them.
But Skip, you keep thinking because they're not stars, everybody can't play for Coach Belichick. Julio Jones is not going to go 3-4 games with catching 1 or 2 passes. Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham. You have to have a guy that goes teammate, me.
But to your point though, the players are interchangeable. Everybody around Brady's interchangeable, right? So Shane Vereen in that Super Bowl played amazing,
He
right?
did.
Then
Yeah, it was great.
Then he goes to the New York Giants, and he doesn't have that same success,
No.
right? That he had. That's the reason that they can get rid of a Jamie Collins. They can get rid of Chandler Jones. Because
Richard
Belichick
Seymour.
knows that as long as he has Brady, he's going to make everything okay.
Yeah,
He's going to get him in
Shannon,
the right
just
position.
think about what he's done. You give him little to no credit.
Oh, I give him a lot of credit.
But think about this. In that first Super Bowl, he has to complete 4 big passes to get them in field goal range, and that's as a baby quarterback. And John Madden's up in the booth.
If that defense gives up what the greatest show on turf normally
Okay,
gets.
I got it. You're right about that. But still, in the end, he had to make those throws, and Belichick had to trust him to make those throws as a first-year starter to get Vinatieri in range to make a 49-yarder. Then against Carolina in that second big Super Bowl, he makes 5 big completions, one of them on 3rd down to set up Vinatieri again for a big late 4 seconds left field goal. I mentioned Seattle. I mentioned Atlanta earlier in the show. They're outrageous. He threw for 246 in the 4th quarter in overtime against Atlanta, and they come from 19 down in the 4th
If you
quarter.
don't mind me
It's
asking,
impossible.
If you don't mind me asking, in those 5 Super Bowl wins, how many of those teams' offenses reached the point total that they averaged in the regular season?
Okay, but the point is, you're ignoring that. As Reggie Bush will tell you, in the end, it's a quarterback's game.
It's a quarterback-driven league.
It's rigged. It's like this is who it is.
All I'm asking.
Okay, you got to have some defense. I mean, Tom Brady can't score 60.
Why not?
He's got a pretty good defense.
Why not?
You know why? Because he doesn't have Randy Moss. He had him for 2 years. That's why he can't. He was scoring 60 with Randy Moss.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. That's my point, what I'm trying to tell you. It doesn't matter what Tom Brady does. If Tom Brady falls behind and the defense can't get the offense off the field, a la Ben against Jacksonville, you lose the game. So you just looking at where Tom came back. What precipitated that? 3 points in 4 fourth quarters in overtime. That's what his defense is giving up.
But no other quarterback could pull off against the opposing defense what he keeps pulling off with the weight of the world on it. Like, these are impossible odds against you.
Granted, he has to perform well, but Ben Roethlisberger performed phenomenally in the 4th quarter. But because his defense could not get off the field, it's all for naught.
Okay, but think about this. The star of the game as a receiver on Sunday was not Reggie Bush, who was the 2nd pick in the draft and ran, would you run, 4.3 or right? Yeah. Danny Amendola, undrafted, ran a 4.740 at the combine. He's the star of the game. Why is that? It's because of number 12.
Yeah, interchangeable.
Yeah. Here's the
interchangeable.
thing. He was on the free agent market. The Patriots paid a lot of money to get him when he came available from the St. Louis Rams. Yeah. They paid a lot of money. So you make it seem like they got to do it at the car wash. That Coach Belichick went to get his car wash. He's like, hey, son,
Danny Amendola. Seriously?
See?
Do you love him?
Well, I mean, I would say the same thing about Chris Hogan. Like, I played with Chris Hogan
you did?
in Miami.
Oh,
I played with Chris
Miami.
Hogan in Miami.
Yeah.
And, again, he didn't have that same success in Miami that he's having right now with the Patriots. He didn't have that same success even in Buffalo until he got to New England Patriots with Tom Brady. Tom Brady throws you open. That's the difference.
But here's the
Thank
thing.
you.
We talking about these guys like they're nothing. Those are 53 of the best guys in the world. even though they're not Julio, even though they're not a Richard Seymour and all these top tier guys.
Do you see Antonio Brown out there? Do you see Alshon out there? I don't.
Let me ask you a question. You think Antonio Brown could play for Coach Belichick with his personality? No. What happened when?
Well, I mean, Chad Johnson tried it, right?
I mean,
what happened
Randy
with Randy?
Moss did.
What happened when he started bucking? Where did he go, Joe?
Got rid of him.
Yep.
Got him up out of there.
No mercy. Dez Bryant had one of the worst seasons of his career, and the Cowboys missed the playoffs. Despite that, last month, Dez said he will not take a pay cut, even though he'll count nearly $17 million against the salary cap in each of the next 2 years. Yesterday, Cowboys VP Stephen Jones had some strong criticism for Dez. Let's take a listen.
It's certainly visible to anyone who watches our games, watches our sideline, is Dez is certainly a fiery guy.
Right.
Plays with a lot of emotion, both on and off the field. Sometimes that can be a distraction. It can be a distraction for Dez. It can be a distraction for other teammates. And we just have to, really get our hands around where, when you put all the full body of work together, where that's headed. And, of course, we pay Dez a lot of money, and
Yes.
he knows that. He's as aware of it as anybody when he talks to Jerry and myself. And, he knows when you get paid that kind of money, there's high expectations in terms of the productivity, as you mentioned. And so those are all things that we have to look at as a team, as an organization, when we start to put our team together for next year.
We're joined by Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings. Welcome, Greg. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. What you call him out here? Dry snitching.
Who?
Stephen Jones. Ain't nobody ask you about Dez
He
coming and talking
did
to him.
not at all.
Talking to him and his dad about money. He volunteered that information. Skip dry.
Yeah, man.
Boy, dry snitching get you
That's
hurt.
that
Message
backhanded
sent.
compliment right there.
How will this play out, Greg?
I mean, he just basically told us how it's going to play out.
Yeah.
The writing is on the wall. I don't think Dez will be in uniform unless he's willing to take a pay cut.
Substantial.
And a little advice for Dez: take the pay cut. Take the pay cut. I understand as an athlete, when you've been a star and elite performer, it's hard for you to see your abilities diminishing. It's hard to come to grips with that. But if he is not willing to take a pay cut, he will not make even what the pay cut would be somewhere else.
Are you speaking from
I'm speaking from experience, Skip. Skip, I'm speaking from experience.
Can you give us a detail?
Absolutely. I was in Minnesota, and I was coming up on my third year. And again, I didn't have the type of year that Dez had. I didn't have the drops. I led the team in yards and catches in every category as a receiver, but we didn't have the quarterback, and they wanted more production. I felt like I was giving them all I could. But when they start using words like we're looking at the full body of work, those are telltale signs that either you're going to make this pay cut or we got to look at the full scope of what's going on around us. And so for me, I didn't take the pay cut initially.
So pride?
Absolutely, without question, pride. There's no doubt. Pride. Pride. And you believe that, and you're going to bet on yourself. But when you're not in charge, when you're not handing down that check, you know what? If Dez says, I want to be a Dallas Cowboy for my entire career, Dez, take the pay cut. I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way. I'm not even talking about his play. I don't even care what his play has been. If he desires to be in that uniform, he will take the pay cut. That will be
what happened to you? What was the outcome?
What happened to me was I was no longer in that Vikings uniform because they decided to go with a Mike Wallace, a younger guy, a faster guy. I felt like my skill sets were better, but it's what they wanted. And I ended up in Miami. I got cut. I got released. Here's the thing. You can't trade this. Nobody's going to take up that.
No.
Nobody's going to take that $16 million.
And
Nobody's
he's not going to get $16 million
No.
in the open market. Those $14 million paydays are over, Skip. But let me tell you about
Wait, real quick. What was the percentage drop from what you could have had if you had taken their offer to stay in Minnesota?
So
reduced?
I was at I was $9 million a year.
Okay.
I was going down to, the pay cut would have took me about, I want to say 6.5.
Okay.
I ended up going to Miami, signing a 2-year deal for $8 million. Dez, Dez, just take the pay cut, man.
Let me tell you how this pay cut thing works, Skip Bayless. Because when I came back to Denver, I just wanted to be back. I knew the system, wouldn't have to learn a new. Skip, you know, even though I was making probably 30% of what I made at my height, at the peak of my career, they expected that same production.
Yep.
They expected the same production that I gave them in 96, 97, 98
Sure.
at 30% of the price. So Dez, they said, look here, we want you to get back to 2014, but we're not gonna pay you $14 million to see you get there. If you don't look, if you don't like it, you think they're being unfair, roll the dice, bet on you. If you say that I'm a student, I'm fundamentally sound in the way I play this game, there are 31 other teams. And I used to tell my teammates all the time, the Broncos are not the only ones that pay money. There are 20, at the time, there were like 29 other teams. They pay too. Dez, roll the dice on you. Bet on you. If you that guy.
Okay, but that's Greg Jennings is saying, wait a second, be careful what you wish for because it may not be out there, right? And do you remember, did Minnesota offer incentives within the $6.5 million?
Absolutely. There were incentives. They were going to be challenging because of the quarterback situation, but I felt like, looking back on it now, it's like, and again, I'm one of those, everything happens for a reason. But a part of me is like, you know what? I could have done that. I could have just swallowed my pride and done that. But at the time, you're thinking, no, I'm leading the team in yards. I'm leading the team in catches. I've given you 70-plus touchdowns over my career. But another thing that he's not looking at is they said right after the season, we're going to tailor this offense more around Dak Prescott. Well, when we look at the relationship on the field, in the completion percentage, in the QBR that you like to look at.
5 of Dak's interceptions came direct of throwing the ball to him.
They don't have that chemistry. They don't have that rapport that you would desire to have with a young quarterback to make him better, to promote confidence in his game, to take his game to the next level. Dez, as a brother, take that pay cut.
Hey, boy, when your money jump funny, hey, Joy, that money jump funny, go ahead. Hey, Dez, you know the system. You know that offense. I'm telling you, it's not, the grass isn't always green on the other side.
Okay.
Because you got to understand, you got to water and fertilize that grass too now.
I hear that. I especially hear what Greg Jennings is saying. But I know Greg Jennings, and I have a pretty good idea of what Dez Bryant is all about, and we're talking about opposite ends of the spectrum. Not that Dez doesn't have high character, but you were not volatile on the field. You were not an emotional wreck occasionally if you didn't get balls thrown to you. Dez can just go a little crazy. And when it was channeled in 2014 and before, it was explosive. It was energy that lifted the whole team because he would go out and play angry and go up and snatch one out of the air that Tony threw back shoulder.
But it wasn't volatility then, Skip. It was passion.
Yeah.
It became
Right.
volatility
I
when
got
the
it.
production's not there.
Absolutely.
That is correct. My point is that if Dez heeds your advice and he swallows his enormous pride that has been bolstered by the owner, the father of the son that we just heard, who loves you like a son, then next year at some point when you're not getting balls thrown to you and you feel like you don't have any rapport with Dak Prescott, you're going to start to fester and boil, and your emotions are going to rise up into your throat, and it's going to come out, and you're going to cause more problems because you did take a pay cut, and you feel like it's not working. You're going to effectively pout because you're just so high-strung that it's a volatile situation that you don't want to fester through the year. So to me, Dez Bryant is not a great candidate to swallow his pride and take an incentive-laden new deal, a pay cut. To me, it's fish or cut bait with Dez Bryant because he's been spoiled rotten by the top guy, by the owner. So at some point, you just have to say yes or no. And I think they're leaning toward a big no where they'll just cut Dez. And they'll say, God bless you, just go out there and find someplace. We need a fresh start. You need a fresh start. You'll go find it elsewhere. And Jerry will say, you want me to make calls for you? You want me to try to find you a place? And
Skip, that's why I went back to Denver.
Yeah.
I finished my second year of a 2-year contract. Now, and I was going to make, $5 million, which is a lot of money for a tight end back then.
Yeah.
I'll just say, we got Todd, We want you to take, what would you do? He asked me, do I want to play? I said, Ozzy, you still think I can play? He's like, boy, you just led all the tight ends, you and Tony Tye, for the most receptions in the season. Yeah, you can still play, but this is what we can do. I went back to Denver and took less money because I would rather take less money and start than take more money and be a backup. I couldn't see myself sitting on the bench when I know I thought I still was better than Todd.
And so that's the competitor in you.
Yeah. Money, Skip. No, I can't. I can't sit here on the bench and make this when I know I'm gone. Let me take the little paper.
And sometimes that gets us in trouble as athletes. But at the end of the day, you said it, Dez. If you're willing to bet on yourself, bet on yourself.
Now, if he'd have told me, well, I tell you what, Shannon, I'll put the job up between you and Todd. If you don't beat him out, we're gonna cut your pay. I got no problem with that. But you gonna tell me beforehand, Ozzy, appreciate that, bro. You good? I got all the kids. I mean, these 2 years you gave me, college paid for. All that paid for. So I'm good, Skip. But I'm gonna roll the dice on me, Skip, because I believe wholeheartedly in my ability. Dez, if you believe in your ability, you believe that you can run routes. Everybody, we criticize you, say you're not the technician of running. Go prove us wrong.
Yeah, but if he looks hard in the mirror, he's going to see a broken down body.
We don't see that,
where he's
Skip.
lost a little quickness and a lot of speed and some confidence.
But we don't
and
see
Skip,
that.
you know this. Like, there is no other team. I don't care where you can go. There is no other team that will appreciate you more than the team that drafted you, more than the team that you've been in that locker room within that organization for years.
Just think about it. I love T.O., but San Francisco tolerated T.O.'s behavior for a long time.
Without question.
Yeah.
If Philadelphia Eagles said no, sir. Cowboys said no, sir.
Well.
And that's what happened. Dez can't go nowhere else and display this type of behavior.
Yeah, but taking a pay cut and staying with the Cowboys is kind of admitting that you're not where you used to be.
But to Shannon's point, when you went to Denver, they expected they were going to give you 30% less, but that production, they wanted that to still be the same.
Yep.
It's
That's the way it works.
No mercy. ESPN is reporting the Cavs held a loud and intense team meeting yesterday, and a lot of the frustrations were aimed at Kevin Love. Love left Saturday's blowout loss to the Thunder after playing only 3 minutes, saying he was dizzy. He then missed Sunday's practice with an illness, leading several players to call him out at the team meeting. And the Cavs are struggling big time, going 3-9 since Christmas. Shannon, what do you make of this?
Skip, we've seen situations where we've seen family members get into it and they say the argument started about a piece of chicken, or two homeboys get into a fight about a PlayStation game. That was the final straw, but that wasn't the major issue. They've been struggling. There's a lot of issues going on with this team. In order for someone to feel comfortable to walk into the door and voice their frustration, someone had to give them something, and Kevin Love was that someone that gave him the something. Now, Kevin Love says he was under the weather, he didn't feel good, he felt lightheaded. Played, I think, a little over 3 minutes in the ball game. So he goes to the locker room, he gets dressed and leaves. I don't know why they would want him to stay. If he's sick, he's not going to play in the game, so he can watch the game on television. I mean, I guess they wanted him there for support. Whatever the case may be.
And he did miss the next day.
He missed the next day.
Practice.
Skip, this is not about Kevin Love being sick and not playing.
I agree.
There's more underlying issues. This was the end in order for everybody to be able to come to the table and says, well, I got a problem with this. I got a problem with Isaiah taking all these bad shots. I got a problem with LeBron not playing any defense. I got a problem with Jay Crowder. Everybody has an opportunity now because everybody was just waiting for that one time, the one opportunity to voice their frustration. Skip, 97, we went through a similar situation. The Monday night when Bill Romanowski, my teammate,
talked about it,
spit in J.J. Stokes' face.
But that was a flashpoint. That's a north or south moment for the whole team.
But here's the thing, Skip. That was our fourth game that we had lost in a row. And so, see, that was what we needed to get at because we were frustrated. There were some guys that weren't carrying their weight on the offensive side. There were some guys that weren't carrying their weight on the defensive side. Romo gave us the opportunity to have the team meeting, not only to address that issue, but to address what had been going on all along. But nobody wanted to talk about it because, okay, come on, guys. I mean, who's going to be that guy that says, okay, this is the problem? Romo gave us the opportunity to open the door, and then here we come walking in. Because Romo issue wasn't the only thing that we talked about, Skip. So that's why I knew, and I knew it all along. That's how I know there were bigger issues that needed to get resolved. Withstanding, we go on, we don't lose another game, we win the Super Bowl.
But that was a potential team splitting
Yes.
black-white issue,
Yes,
right? Okay.
yes.
All right.
But we needed this to also talk about the other
I got it.
issues that was
Yeah.
causing the friction that no one wanted to talk about. Kevin Love, they needed this situation. They're losing, and they're losing bad, and it's not even close. And Kevin Love has not looked like Kevin Love since Isaiah got back.
He has not.
And I said, Kevin Love and Isaiah don't work together. Isaiah Thomas and the Cleveland Cavaliers don't work together. And unless something major is they can't fix this. You got to go out, Skip. They're blaming Kevin, but Kevin Love should be used to this, Skip. They've been blaming him every time they go through a rough patch. They've been blaming him since he got there. So he shouldn't be upset by this. They blame Kevin Love all the time. They blame Kevin Love because Kelly Olynyk snatched his arm out of. Why you let him grab your arm like that to begin with? You know, it's one of those situations. So, Skip, for me, when you look at this isn't about Kevin Love being sick. This is not about them losing by 24. There are a lot more issues. Kevin Love just gave them the opportunity. So now everybody can come to the table and voice their concerns or their issues of what's going on with this football team. Now, you can make it about Kevin Love, but this is bigger than Kevin Love. This is bigger than him being sick and leaving the arena. There's deeper issues.
No, I agree. So, Shannon Sharpe.
Yes.
Your squad is imploding.
Yeah, we're going to fix it.
You know, you better fix it.
Oh,
and I
God.
will give you this. It is possible that this flashpoint moment that dealt with, is he sick or not sick, could help clear some air. It could help turn you back around. It could help free everybody up to get it all off their chests and get it out on the table in front of, they said the coaches all came.
Yeah.
Everybody was there.
Lou, you've been bull jiving too.
Yeah.
Calling them plays. The guy they played with, LeBron. Oh, you've been lunching too now.
I don't know about
David,
that.
I gotta said it. John, you've been lunching. I was like, John, you've been lunching.
Do you really think LeBron
No, I didn't
James
say
got
that.
called out in that meeting?
No.
He did not.
But that's what I would have said. In my mind, I was saying that.
Well, the ESPN report, to your point, pointed out that fingers got pointed at everybody in the meeting after it started with Kevin Love.
Yes.
And according to the report, Kevin Love gave a convincing account of his illness, like he convinced everybody he was. But to your point, is it possible? When I talk about people being sick or hurt, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. You don't know. Joy doesn't know. Who knows? I don't know. How is that person really feeling? Was he lightheaded? He said he was feeling dizzy and woozy. I don't know. Was he bailing? Was he jaking it?
He was scared of Shaq Adams.
Okay.
Steven Shaq Adams.
Yeah, Shaq Adams. Was he pouting because he's not getting any more shots because Isaiah Thomas is hogging the ball? I don't know. I don't know. But they're all wondering what's going on here. And then he doesn't just sit in the locker room and wait on them to come in.
Yeah.
He leaves. Okay, I have no earthly idea, but to your point again, it did open all the floodgates to get it all out. And yet, in the end, I wonder about who's the best player on the team. I think it's pretty clearly that.
Best player in the league. Yeah, not just that team, all the other
best
teams.
player in the world is LeBron
Yeah,
James.
correct.
One of the great leaders in the history of sports, I'm told.
Yeah.
So why didn't he head this off at the pass? Why did you need to let Kevin Love have to sit on the hot seat in a team meeting? Wouldn't LeBron or Shannon Sharpe go straight to Kevin Love and say, what's up?
Sometimes we got to have a sacrificial lamb.
Okay,
Sometimes,
well, he got sacrificed. Yep.
Sometimes the hair got to go with the hide, Joy. You throw it all out. I mean, you can't save it all. Skip, I know we're struggling. So I need to know because I can't go to each individual guy because that's big. That's going behind. No, I heard what you said. You say that behind his back, but would you say that in his face?
Yep.
So now we all in a room, Skip.
All right.
I'm sitting back like this here. Okay, what's your problem, Jay Crowder?
Yep.
Isaiah, what's going on? Shump, JR, what's up? Okay, now, because you remember, we had a situation, Skip, I was in college. We had two receivers. They were both seniors, and they were roommates. One of them wasn't getting a lot of playing time. He goes by the coach's office and says, I'm better than the guy, his roommate that's playing in front of him. Coach put him in practice. He dropped like 3 or 4 passes. Coach blow the whistle. He said, son, you just came by my office and told me you better than Barney. outed him.
Ooh.
So that's what LeBron is. I'm like, LeBron's like, no, we ain't finna do this. You know, you come to me and I go to you. No, we all around the table. Now what? What's the problem? Kev, you got a problem with Isaiah? Isaiah, you got a problem with Kev? Who got a problem with Bron? I ain't got no problem with Bron. I got a problem with Channing Frye, with Jay Crowder. That's Skip.
I wish I'd been in that meeting. I would have piped right up.
Skip,
I got a problem with LeBron.
Skip.
LeBron, in the last 6 games in the second halves, you've been a minus 82, which is by far the worst in the NBA. So, LeBron, you played so many early minutes this year. Now you're hitting the wall in the second half. We need you, big fella.
Yeah.
Where are you? I don't know. What's happened to the defense here? They've fallen to 29th, which is one rung above the bottom, Sacramento. And I look over the last 7 games, and they've been giving up 127, 133, 118, and then, of course, 148.
In a regulation game, 148.
148. It's horrendously bad. So over this stretch, the last, say, 14 games, they've been easily the worst defensive team in the league. And
then they make it seem like Kevin Love the only one not playing defense.
Yeah.
Where they put this stat, well, Kevin Love, when he play guys that he play against shoot 6% higher than what their average is. Well, hell, what they shooting against IT, what they shooting against Jay Crowder, what they shooting against JR. They make it seem like Kevin Love is the only one not playing defense. Nobody's playing defense. Zero. Not JR. Tristan Thompson is not the defensive player that he once was. Now, get it, the calf, and he's trying to round back into shape. But this is this team, nobody. Because when you look at it, Skip, only LeBron numbers, the 28, 8, and 8, are comparable. JR is down across the board. JR has not been the same since last year. Jay Crowder is down. Everybody is down. But Paul Kevin Love, you got to bear it. Sometimes, Skip, you got to just bear it. Mike would sometimes yell at me. I know it wasn't really yelling at me because I was giving folk that work, Joy. You know me. It was about somebody else. But he knew I could take it. They know Kevin Love. He been taking it for 3 years, so you're going to be the punching bag again. But there are bigger issues going on. Hopefully they got that resolved. We'll find out. Now, they play San Antonio tonight. We'll see.
No, they don't play San Antonio tonight. San Antonio is no longer San Antonio.
What?
There's no Kawhi Leonard. There's no Rudy Gay. Tony Parker's a shell of himself as he tries to come back from injury. Do I need to keep going?
Oh.
Yeah, it's not even close.
So you abandoning the Spurs?
They've been abandoned.
Oh, Joy. Now, you heard what he said.
Well, I can't help it. My best player and the best two-way player on the planet.
No, he's not the best two-way anymore now because he hasn't played. That belongs to Kevin Durant.
Okay, but that used last year at the end of the year in the playoffs, he was the best two-way player by all accounts. Steve Kerr said it. Reggie Miller said it.
For the past 3 years, he's been the best two-way player.
So I haven't had him the whole year. So you are getting a huge break to play that team in San Antonio tonight without its stalwarts and stars.
We need all the breaks we can get.
Yeah.
Now, can we go over there and play the big baller team over in Lithuania? We need wins.
Might.
Because I don't know if we can get them against NBA competition currently.
I don't know. LeVar's coaching now, so.
We don't even have the sixth man of the year, Manu Ginobili. He's got a bruised quad. Everybody's got a quad.
Still, when you get old, of course, what you expect? He's 41. You see the dome? Got that sunroof all the way out. Now, Joy,
so this is a get-well-quick game for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
We need it.
God bless.
We need it. Now,
congratulations.
I will see early on if this meeting had any effect. Because normally you see flashes that come out and play hard for the first, 10, 12 minutes of the game. But they need
Look, your team, once upon a time, this basketball season, won 18 out of 19 games. That's not that easy to do in this league. I don't care if you're playing all Eastern Conference
Well,
teams.
that is what you said when they did it.
Well, 18 and 19, it just shows you got potential to be, at least in the Eastern Conference, the best team, right? Right?
Me, you, Bron, Johnny, and Joy.
Yeah.
We might win about 3 or 4 games.
We just might. But in the end, it's about playing defense. And don't tell me you're too old to play defense.
No, he can't sit down in that chair and guard like
he could. Not just him. I mean, the whole team.
Oh, yeah.
It's the oldest team. No, it doesn't matter because I saw this team play defense earlier this year. Don't tell me. You're just losing heart. Yeah. You don't like the chemistry. You don't like what they said they called out the front office in the meeting. They called out Dan Gilbert in the meeting.
They should have.
Okay? All right, fine.
Because we told you not to trade Kyrie. You had all the leverage. Why would you trade Kyrie?
Water under the bridge.
There ain't no water under the bridge.
Suck it up and go forward.
No, I ain't sucking nothing up.
As Coach Belichick would say.
Dan Gilbert. You and I going to have a discussion. Now, there's a power struggle going on. Now, I don't want to do what I did before, but they say once you get a divorce, the second time is easier. So I done divorced you one time, Dan Gilbert.
You got burned once and you went back, and you're getting burned again.
I know. You know what? That's what happened.
I mean, I for one, I'm shocked that there's dysfunction in Cleveland.
Yeah.
That's all right. We get it fixed. Help is on the way, Bron.
Who could have seen this coming? So John Debo'd you in the meeting?
No. I did a lot of the talking. But I was. Yeah, but you
Would
know.
John be talking?
No.
I'll be quiet.
No, yeah, hey. Y'all ain't say nothing about John threw the 3 interceptions the last 2 games. Ain't nobody say nothing about that. But y'all want to talk about me, I ain't blocking. What about him? You know, I throw that shit.
No mercy. DeMarcus Cousins had a career night in the Pelicans' double overtime win against the Bulls. Boogie finished with 44 points, 24 rebounds, and 10 assists. He's the first player with a 40-20-10 game since Kareem in the 70s. Let's take a listen to an exhausted Cousins after the game.
You know, my strength coach had the nerve to ask me, do I want to lift after this game? I almost lost it. If I had some energy, we would have fought. I'm just glad it's over. Seriously, I'm glad this game is over. I think they feel the same way, too. You dream about moments like that as a kid and, you know, game coming down to the line and you just making big plays down the stretch. And it was a good competitive game. And I think we just willed our way through this game.
Shannon, how impressive was Boogie last night?
Very, very impressive. Boogie, stop doing this. You're driving the price up. Skip, won't he do right like he's supposed to do?
He is not going to wind up in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm sorry.
Why do you think Sacramento put up with Boogie Cousins' BS for so long? Because of this. Production outweighed all the tolerance that you were willing to tolerate anything because of his production. Think about that. A 40-20-10. Kareem in 72. Put in perspective, Wilt Chamberlain had a 53-32-14 ball game. Skip. What Boogie did, there are 4 players that's ever done what Boogie Cousins done. Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Elgin Baylor, and Oscar Robinson. They all reside in Springfield, Massachusetts. So he went double overtime. Even if you take the double overtime away, he had a 33-20-10. David Lee was the last person to do that in the last 30 years. He's special. Skip, they were down by 17 points with 5 minutes to go.
They were.
And to top it off, Anthony Davis fouled out. So he had to go this journey alone. He's special. I've said it. I love Karl Anthony Towns. I love Anthony Davis. But big man, the best is DeMarcus Boogie Cousins. There's nothing he cannot do. Now, he's mercurial. Skip, he might throw a chair. He gonna get some technique. He go like, Boogie! You're going to be down by 2 and Boogie going to get a couple of tags. They're going to get the ball. You're going to lose. You're like, Boogie, come on. We can't have that. But Skip Bayless, what he did last night is just a sample of what he can do and what he's capable of. New Orleans, what y'all holding on to this man for? Y'all going to pay him now. Granted, you can give him that extra 5th year. No one else can. Are you going to pay Anthony Davis $130? Are you going to be willing to give Boogie Cousins $180? Are you going to play True Holiday $150? So y'all got that kind of money? Boogie, if you want your own signature shoe, it ain't about where you play. You got to win. You going to link up with that old guy from the 330 in Akron.
No.
You get you a signature shoe, guaranteed. Kyrie Irving didn't have no signature shoe until who came back, Skip? He was Unc Drew. He was shooting from Pepsi commercial. He was and what all that. But until he started winning with those 330 King James, that's when he got a signature shoe.
So I think I just heard you say that if the Cavaliers do acquire DeMarcus Cousins, then suddenly LeBron will be the second best player on that team. Right? I think that's what I just heard.
No, you didn't hear that, Skip.
I heard special.
No,
I heard special.
No, Skip. I didn't. No. I said he's the best big man.
Oh, okay.
But the best man. Skip, there's a difference. You could be. There's a groomsman. You got 3 or 4 of them. And then you got the best man.
So DeMarcus is just a groom.
But he's standing at the altar. He ain't got the ring, but he's standing right next to him.
So I'm going to say this one more time for the record. Before his draft on ESPN, day after day, I said John Wall is not the best player in this draft. Trust me, it's this guy. He's way better than John Wall will ever be, and he's on his way to being way better than John Wall will ever be. He hasn't realized it yet. And I want to say this because I've talked once, had one long conversation with DeMarcus, but his on-court interview, we saw him sitting in his locker stall, but the on-court, because I watched the game and that they did there right after the game on the local, he was so mature and so fun and so well-spoken, and all the credit went to his teammates. Everything, my teammates, he is growing up before your very eyes, and we're not seeing as much volatility this year that you talked about.
He respects his coach. He loved playing with AD. He didn't respect any of his coaches in Sacramento, and he didn't like being there. Now, he wanted that max contract that he could have got because he cost himself $30+ million because they can't give him can't give him that Russell. They can't give him that Steph Curry contract. But 5 years at $180 million or 4 years at $133,
Yep.
I'll take it.
But as much as I buy DeMarcus Cousins, that I believe in DeMarcus, it's stunning to me how it's hard to believe in the Pelicans this year because now they've risen to 25-21 after another overtime win last night. So in 3 of their last 5 games, they've won in overtime. So they barely survived at the Knicks. Then they had a really big-time game against the Celtics at Boston, but it took overtime. And then last night it took double overtime against the Bulls. And their record isn't very good, although lately the Bulls have caught fire because they're 15-8 in their last 23. So they're no joke in the Eastern Conference.
They could have won it, Skip, because the guy got fouled on the three-pointer. He made 2 to tie it, and then
So speaking of that, Justin Holiday, I'm glad you brought that up because I did watch this game. Me and Hazel, she's sitting right beside me. She's really into the NBA. So we're watching Hazel, my Maltese. She's the baddest Maltese this side of Malta.
She don't like
and she is into basketball. So all of a sudden, Justin Holiday goes down with no time left and gets just hammer fouled by 2 guys, his body fouled, and he is going to shoot 3 free throws with no time left to make 2 to tie and 1 more to win the game. And I'm thinking, I told Hazel, this is LeBron's worst nightmare because this would be where he'd be just scared. You are sweating bullets, man, because you got to make 2 just to get to overtime. So Justin Holiday, who's an 84% free throw shooter, steps up, and I told Hazel, he'll miss the first one because it's just you're looking at the mountain to climb. You got to make 3 free throws, and he just rips the first one as cleanly as you can rip it, in rhythm, looked convincing, like he shot it with authority. Second one, boom, right down the middle. And I thought, wow, he's got this. Then he short arms the third one and it lips out. To your point, if that goes down, we're having a different conversation because it would have been all those big numbers in defeat and he wouldn't have gotten to pile on some numbers in 2 more overtimes. But I'm taking nothing away. I'm just telling you that it's mysterious to me how these 2 guys, are they not 2 of the top 10 players?
Absolutely.
Yes, they are.
Absolutely.
So if I give you 2 of the top 10 players in the NBA, don't you think you'd be better than 25-21?
You would think.
You would think you would, except those 2 guys who are best buddies, they're real. I think it's legit, genuine. They love each other. They love playing with each other. But they're exactly the same guy, right? Don't they do exactly the same thing?
Both of them are basically 4s.
Yeah, and they can both shoot it now. They can
ball
shoot
on
it
the court,
outside, and both of them can shoot threes. He was bombing threes last night, but both of them will shoot threes, and both of them are unselfish. I mean, 10 assists for a guy that size, that's pretty hard to do.
With 20 rebounds.
It's just outrageously great. But so is Anthony. There are some nights Anthony Davis, what he did to the Celtics in Boston, they just couldn't remember. He had 45 and 16 or something like that.
And you remember a couple of years ago, Anthony Davis had a 59-20-8 game against Detroit.
Right. So you throw in Drew Holiday and Etuan Moore. I don't know. And Rondo contributes some, but they're not good enough outside those 2 to be good enough. Because if you told me you had Durant and Westbrook, well, obviously those 2 together, as much as they were troubled personally, they were still really good.
Right.
They had Golden State down 3-1, right?
Yep.
And you would think this team could have Golden State down 3-1 with that much firepower, but somehow it doesn't really click because they're basically kind of a 500 team that just won 3 overtime games.
Well, the thing is, Skip, when you look at these 2 guys, and I said it, we talked about them last week, they're basically a 50-25 tandem. They're going to get you 25 points a night, and they'll get you 12.5 rebounds. Good nights, they'll go get you 60 and 30. This right here, they went and got 68-34. But here's the thing, Skip. Who is going to be consistent, that third option? Now, in Boston, it was Holiday. Last night, it was Eton Moore. If they can consistently get
Yep.
somebody in that third slot, nobody is stopping these two guys. So you might as well just go ahead and chalk it up. They're going to get between 50 and 60.
They are.
They're going to probably get somewhere around 25 rebounds
And
between
they're,
the two.
they're going to play off each other
Yes,
really well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because nobody has big men that can deal with them. You can't deal with this. Nobody has this skill. But he's driving the price up.
He's driving it up.
But don't worry about it. But you know, LeBron is a power broker. LeBron, Rich Paul, they make things happen.
Via the commissioner, they do.
No,
They
they
pick up
don't
the
do
phone,
that.
they do. Commish, we need help.
We need it.
We're a mess.
What? Okay. Other than LeBron,
Yeah.
What do you want, Pelicans, for Boogie or AD? What do you want? You want that first-round pick? We'll give you the next first-round pick. We'll give you our first-round pick. You want Kevin Love? You can have him too.
Okay, that can all happen, but LeBron has to say the magic words. I'm staying.
The magic word is, I'm leaving if you don't do nothing.
Oh, well, then it's the old
If I know
catch-22.
Joey, I already know. She already told me she gonna leave. Now, there's no assurances that if I get her this 12-carat diamond ring, she gonna stay. But at least I'm gonna put something on her mind to make her like, oh, Shay got 12-carat flawless. You know, I get one of them old D-flawless diamonds.
Yeah, I mean, that depends. Is she replaceable? No?
No, I don't want to. No.
No mercy. Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. We're back at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.